Hi, I'm Damon Oppenheimer of the New York Yankees. I won this award actually in 2018, and it's a real honor for me to have won the award, but it's a bigger honor for me to be able to present the award to Jim Hendry, who's done everything in baseball, been a dear friend to me, been a mentor to me. I've learned so many things from him. He's almost lost his life because of this game and the stuff, and he is one of the most deserving people I know for this award. Congratulations, Jim. Couldn't gotten to a better guy.
Congrats, Dad. We love you so much. We're really proud of you. You're an awesome dad, and we love you so much.
Yeah, we're so proud of you. You've worked really hard all these years. You deserve this.
Love you, Dad.
You know, it's very rare in life that you run across somebody that's as genuine and honest as Logan White. I've only met him and known him for a few years, but upon the first visit at a friend's 40th birthday party, I fell in love with the guy. He's phenomenal. He's genuine. He's sincere. He's brought so much to the baseball world, but even more than that, he's brought a lot to anybody that's ever crossed paths with him. A wonderful human being, very deserving of this reward. Congratulations, Logan.
I met Logan at the same birthday party with Craig. Logan is my brother in Christ. He's my friend. He's my confidant. He's the guy that I turn to when I'm in trouble. I mean, he's a genuine friend. I love him so much. We came all the way to Scottsdale to celebrate Logan and this great accomplishment.
Yes, I unfortunately have known him for 43 years, so not really. College teammate, great friend, great man, and he's just done so much wonderful stuff for a lot of people, and I love him. We're proud of him, and well deserved, and congratulations. So that's all I got to say.
Hey, Logan, I just want to congratulate you on this special achievement. You're such a wonderful husband. You inspire me every day, and you deserve this success. Congratulations. I love you.
Well, we're here to congratulate Rene Francisco, my husband, and to say that we are proud of you is not enough. You say that I am the backbone of the family, but let me tell you something, without you, there wouldn't be much. So we are happy for you, we are proud for you, and just keep doing what you're doing. It's what you love.
Papi, just want to say how proud of you that we both are. And like Mami said, she said you were the backbone, and we both know that I'm the backbone. So she might have told a little lie there. No, but, you know, I'm just honestly so proud of you, been able to watch you do what you did as I grew up, the work ethic you had, and the way that you learned from others and were able to connect with others was something that I think I've learned how to do, and I hope that I can make you proud. I know I already have a little bit, not to toot my own horn in this, but hope I can continue doing that, and you're continuing to make me proud every day. So thank you.
We love you.
We love you.
Well, Rene, what can I say? You know, we are so proud of you. Not only me, George, Neil, they all told me that very proud of you. It's been a long journey for you. We're so proud of you and your accomplishments. I mean, since we were 11 till now, and look where we're at now. Amazing. Keep it going, man, and congratulations. You deserve it more than anybody. Love you, buddy.
I'd like to congratulate all the honorees this year, the winners. Logan White, a gentleman that I truly respect. Renee Francisco, a colleague that I work with. Jim Henry, and Tom McNamara. Enjoy the week. It's a hell of a celebration of your career, and enjoy it. And thanks to Roberta to getting this together, and her hard work and her efforts are really appreciated. Thank you.
Hey, I'd like to congratulate all the winners. We have 4 fabulous winners and tremendous woman distinguished award winner. And I just want to say I'm so proud of you guys. I've worked around you guys for many years, and you're going to have a great night and enjoy it because it's a lot of fun. Congratulations, guys.
Hey, this is Grady Fuson. I just want to say congrats to all the winners. I got a big history with Logan and Jim Henry and Tommy Mack. I scouted against them. I was a scouting director against them. They were always a threat at the ballpark. You knew these guys knew how to break down players. So it is a very good group. I'm happy for them, and I wish them all the best.
Good evening. We're at the Scout of the Year 41st celebration of our National Scouts with my wife Roberta and my name's Ron, and we just honor these fine gentlemen for all their efforts over the years. Do you want to say anything, dear?
Congratulations. Hope you have a wonderful evening.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to say congratulations to all the winners tonight. As a young scout in the game, it's always been inspiring to see your work and your passion, and to lead the way for all of us that work in baseball. And you're the lifeblood of the game, and can't thank you enough for all you do. And huge congratulations to you and your families tonight.
Renee and T-Mac, JJ here. Just want to say congratulations on this outstanding recognition. It's such a special award, and to have 2 guys from the Royals represented on the same evening is really quite the accomplishment. But congratulations to both of you on long, great careers, and looking forward to celebrating this with you.
Hey guys, this is Louie here, and congrats to all the recipients this year. Welcome to the club. And Jim, Logan, Renee, and Tommy, much deserved. And enjoy the night. It's a great time, and hopefully you guys get through the speeches, and I'm sure it'll be entertaining. Congrats.
Hey there. I just want to say how much of a pleasure it is to be here this evening. To have this group of 4 is amazing. It's one of the best groups I think that we ever had going on in, and to be able to join them and welcome them in is outstanding. Logan ended up hiring him, gave him his first job. Jim Hendry ended up getting a chance to always spend time with him. Renee was outstanding every time I always see him. And then Tommy Mack, what can you say? One-of-a-kind guy, great scout. All of them were excellent scouts. Honored to be here and enjoying this great evening with them. Thank you.
Matt, just want to say congratulations. It's well deserved. You think you haven't made an impact on baseball, but obviously if you look around this room, you've made a huge impact on baseball. Congratulations, and again, it's well deserved.
Chuck Lamar at the 2025 Scout of the Year banquet. Quite an honor to be here. Some of the best minds in the game of baseball, past and present, and truly our event. It's the one time every year that we get together and honor 3 or now 4 outstanding scouts, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and international. And I'm happy to be with the San Diego Padres. Logan White of the Padres is going in tonight, and had a tremendous career, and just can't thank him, the Padres, and everybody here to attending. Going to be a great event.
It's nice to see all of you here this evening. Welcome to the 41st Scout of the Year reception. We have a very busy night tonight with a all-star cast, and we hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. You have seen him in Clearwater. You have seen him in the Dominican Republic. You have seen him in Philadelphia. Now, live in Orlando, your MC for the night, Sal, the Italian Stallion, Agustinelli.
All right. Well, I got two important things. First of all, I need your opinion on one thing. I opened up a batting school in New York, and I'm doing terrible. You know, I thought I had a great slogan. You too can hit 222. And I don't know why people don't come to the batting cage. So that's supposed to be a bad joke, but anyway, I got one really important thing to talk about, actually, seriously, is we need your support. You know, we were talking about it last night at the dinner. You know, we sent out almost 1,500 ballots out to everyone. We realize that some people don't get the ballots, and we need to know that. So if you can just send me an email at saugustinelli@phillies.com. If you don't get the ballot, or if you're in your 24th year, getting into your 25th year, and you're going, just let us know if you don't get the ballot, because we sent 1,500 out, and we got 400 back, and I think we can do better than that. So it's really, really important that you guys, I mean, Roberta does so much, the organization, I mean, she, you know, her and Ron do so much for us, and it's, you know, I was lucky enough to win the award in 2018, and like these guys do this year, and it's a great weekend. You know, you get selected by your peers, and it's really exciting. You know, it's humbling, and especially around it's a wonderful turnout. Look at this turnout we got, guys. Really, really, it's awesome to be in front. So if you can help in any way, get it to assistant general managers, scouting directors, get to your guys. I mean, I have the audit here. I mean, we have teams that at a 50 in their organizations are sending 2 in. And that's, to me, we have to do better than that. So if you could just get back to your people and do that, you know, I really, really would appreciate it. And I think we all would. Anyway, now we can have some fun. So anyway, before we meet our winners, we'd like to introduce all the members. Johnny DePuglia, where's Big Johnny? Johnny D's. Danny Henderson. Danny Montgomery. I know I was going to screw up sooner or later. Sorry about that. Dan Jennings, Texas Rangers. Where'd he go? Brady Fuson. Where's Brady? Brady for Oakland A's. Okay. Linda Pereira, thank you for everything you do. And our fearless leader, Roberta Mazur. Okay, let's move on to the winners tonight. Our East Coast winner is, let's hold the applause till I'm done. Our East Coast winner is Tommy Mack Namaro, who will be introduced by J.J. Picola, General Manager of the Kansas City Royals. Our West Coast winner is our Midwest winner is Jim Hendry of the New York Yankees, who will be introduced by Damon Oppenheimer, Assistant General Manager. Our West Coast winner is Logan White, who will be introduced by A.J. Preller. And our international winner this year is Renee Francisco of the Kansas City Royals, will be introduced by Dayton Moore. Our Roberta Mazur Distinguished Woman of the Year will be Cheryl Evans of the Detroit Tigers. She's not here to accept her award, and Ryan Garko, the assistant GM, will accept the award for her. Okay. For the first introduction, I'm going to ask J.J. Picola, Executive Vice President and General Manager of the Kansas City Royals, to introduce Tommy McNamara.
Thanks, Al. I know everybody's wondering what the over-under is on T-Mac here tonight, so we're about to find out. But good evening. It's an honor to be here tonight to recognize someone who's made a really lasting mark on this game. Tonight we celebrate Tom McNamara, better known as T-Mac, as our East Coast Scout of the Year. If you spent any time in baseball, you've probably crossed paths with T-Mac. As you all know, he's got a story for every day, and it's probably going to be a little bit more than a 15-minute conversation. He has an incredible memory of every ballpark and every player he's ever been in, and he's been everywhere and somehow always has a story that fits the moment. And you know what? For a kid that grew up in the Bronx, he certainly dresses like he was in Beverly Hills somehow. But the beauty of T-Mac is it really speaks to how much he respects this profession and how much he respects the game. After high school, T-Mac went to Dominican College, where he stole 71 bases in 1988, which led him to signing with the Seattle Mariners as a non-drafted free agent. He played one season in the Northwest League before being released, but while his playing career may have been cut short, it set the tone for a lifetime in the game that he loves. After playing, he spent three years coaching at Rockland Community College in Suffern, New York. While coaching there, he also taught school, which is a little scary, and managed a painting company. But what's so cool about that is he's never been afraid of grinding things out and working. He has a great way of connecting with people, and most importantly, staying connected with the game that he loves, baseball. Professional baseball eventually came calling again when he was offered a job as an area scout in the Northeast with the Seattle Mariners. From there, he went on to scout in Florida for the Milwaukee Brewers, where he signed future All-Star Prince Fielder, and then served as Milwaukee's East Coast supervisor. After that, he spent 5 years with the San Diego Padres as a professional scout, and those years are years he speaks very fondly of his days with Kevin Towers. Eventually, he made his way back to Seattle, where he served as the Mariners scouting director for 8 years. During that time, he and his staff drafted and signed an impressive group of major league contributors, including Kyle Seager, Taijuan Walker, James Paxton, Brad Miller, Mike Zunino, Edwin Diaz, Chris Taylor, Tyler O'Neill, Emilio Pagano, Zach Littell, and the 2020 Rookie of the Year, Kyle Lewis. Along the way, he also signed future Major League hitting coach James Rowson and the Royals' current Major League pitching coach, Brian Sweeney. Eventually, T-Mac transitioned to special assistant to the general manager in Seattle, where he helped contribute to a lot of the successes Seattle's currently having with the players they have on the field. And over the last 5 years, we've been very fortunate to have him in the same role with the Royals. Through it all, the bus rides, the cold bleachers, the miles on the road, T-Mac has always been the same man, a loyal, hardworking employee, a funny, passionate teammate, and someone who loves his home, New York, and most of all, his son, Martin. He's incredibly proud of his late father, Mike, who served in the Marines and the New York Fire Department, and really treasures his close relationship with his mother, Jane, who is a devout Met fan. T-Mac represents the very best of our profession, not just because he sees talent, but because he sees people, he builds trust, he shares stories, and makes this game better for everyone that's involved in it. On behalf of the Kansas City Royals and on our entire staff, the many, many people who have been lucky enough to work alongside with T-Mac, congratulations, T-Mac. This recognition is well-deserved, and we're proud to celebrate you tonight.
Thank you. I got my notes down on a game card. I'm a scout. That's what we do. First of all, I want to thank JJ. Thanks for that great introduction. Really blessed to be a Kansas City Royal. I work with classy people from the top to the bottom, and it's a privilege. Roberta, when I got the call, I was in Jupiter, Florida, after 3 games in the Perfect Game World Wood Baseball Classic, and I was sitting at the grill in Jupiter with Zach O'Reilly, and I got a call from Jack Monahan, who works in our front office in Kansas City, and I said, oh no, he nailed me again on the expenses. Well, he had Roberta join him on the call, and she told me I won the East Coast Scout of the Year. I was sitting there with Zach O'Reilly, who works with us in Kansas City, and I was shocked. It made my day. And then about 2 hours later, there was a monsoon that wiped out the rest of the 3 games in Florida. But it was a treat, Roberta, to get that news. It means a lot to me. There's a lot of people in this room, there's a lot of people in the lobby that I've seen, and I keep saying, oh, I got to mention them in my speech. I got to mention him in my speech. I got to mention her. And it's the list I'm not going to thank it. I thank everybody, but I can't mention all your names because we'd be here all night, and I'm on a 7-minute max here. Sal Agustinelli, thank you. I had the pleasure of breaking in the scouting in 1993. I was a part-time scout for Pittsburgh, and then I worked in the Northeast area till 2000. And Sal couldn't have treated me any better. We could have probably put together a Netflix documentary on those 7 or 8 years. We had a lot of characters in the Northeast. From John Taminia to John Hageman to Alan Marr to Ramon Pena, these guys kept you working. It was a treat to be around them. I learned a lot. I'm standing here before all of you, and I see people like Omar Minaya walk in with Russ Bove. Got a little choked up. New Yorkers, you know what I mean? Those guys saw me play when I was in college. J.P. Ricciardi. Then I became a scout, and those guys treated me just like they treated me when I played, and that really meant a lot to me. JJ, the way he treats everybody the same. He's a great listener. And for all you up-and-comer future GMs, it's a great skill to have. It's something I need work on, but he's a great listener. I hear the word collaboration, process, and culture all the time. That's what he's about. He lets you do your job, and he expects you to do it. My family. I come from a family of 8, pretty athletic family. JJ mentioned my dad was a New York City fireman, U.S. Marine. Say one thing about my dad. I'd go 3 for 4 in a game and steal 3 bases. I'd come home after the game, and my dad'd be waiting for me and say, how come you didn't back up second on that play? And how come you didn't run that ball out in right center? You know, that's what you want as a kid. You want someone that constantly trying to make you better. I took that into scouting. I only think about the misses. I never think about the players we hit on. I always think about the misses. I'm sure a lot of the people in this room do. Some haven't missed much. Back to my family. My mom grew up a big Brooklyn Dodger fan, Met fan. She liked 3 players, Gil Hodges, Tom Seaver, and Jake DeGrom. She had scouting instincts. My older brother, Mike, he passed away. He was a casualty of 9/11. And I think about him all the time. Sorry. Oh boy, I thought I was a tough guy from New York. He used to push me as hard as he could push someone. He made me better. And I'd like to dedicate this award to my son, Martin. He can't be here. But I come from, without my family, without my mom and dad, competitive people. They were up in New York a couple of weeks ago. I won an award for the New York Baseball Hall of Fame, and they blew it out up in New York. So I have my girlfriend with me. She flew down from Texas. Marissa Jennings, thanks for coming. She thinks I'm simple. Shh, keep it quiet. Okay, also, walking through the lobby today, you never feel like you impact people. You just do your job. I see Walt Weiss in the lobby. Played against Walt in high school. I idolized him. He was a senior and I was a junior. He was the guy everybody wanted to be. Then I run into Pat Murphy. He comes over to me and congratulates me on Scout of the Year. I met him when he was the head coach at Arizona State, treated me great. But that kind of stuff makes you feel comfortable to get up and to speak in front of all of you. I'm happy to be alive. We all need comedy. In the spring, I got a phone call from a guy that I used to work with named Doug Reynolds with the Milwaukee Brewers. Check that. He sent me a text. Mac, are you okay? I said, what's up? 7 o'clock in the morning, we were on a Zoom call with the Royals, and somebody tweeted out that I passed away. Interesting way to start your day. They said I was 57 years old, which I loved. Took a couple of years off my life, and they mentioned that I signed Prince Fielder. I'm like, that's not bad. And people were texting me, calling me. Colin Gonzalez, our assistant scouting director, he had to hear my voice. I was texting him, but he needed to hear my voice. I was in Riverside, California at a Marriott, and I was going to see Corona High School that night. Might be the only time I ever got an ovation walking into a game. Everybody clapped, even John Savage, the head coach of UC. I was getting pats on the back. But Doug Reynolds, I know you're here. Thanks for checking in on me. I appreciate it. Also, comedy. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. I've seen him before, and he always throws a question out to the audience. I got my question. Seinfeld, like, why don't we use blinkers anymore? All the scouts out here, we drive a lot. People rarely use their blinkers anymore. I don't get it. Somebody help me. Okay. The guys on the panel, I'd like to say a word about each one. I feel like Joey Cora right now. The leadoff hitter, table setter, gets on base, let the big guns get you in. And that's a compliment to Joey Cora. We got Rene Francisco. Rene and I have been friends for 30 years. He's a humble guy, super talented. He never uses the word I. I've been around him. Me and him are like the odd couple. I want credit for everything, and he doesn't say a word. He's good for me. He's signed so many impact big leaguers, and he never talks about them. But you do your research, another one of Rene's guys. And he's got a little James Bond in him, the way he works around the park. I like that. I admire him. He's a friend, and I respect the heck out of him. Next, Logan White. I'll keep this simple. Big fan of Logan's track record, pretty damn good. The only problem with Logan is I got a call about 3 years ago from a writer, and he said, "Hey, Mac, I'm doing a story on the Seager boys." And I said, "Yeah, I knew where it was going." He goes, "You drafted 2 of the Seager boys, Kyle and Justin. You didn't like Corey?" Thanks, Logan. Okay, thank you. I'm going to wrap this up soon. Joe Nigro is the scout that signed me. Joe was a New York City cop, retired New York City cop, Vietnam vet, played minor league ball with the Senators. I signed for $500 on the hood of a car. His wife was expecting. She was in labor, and on the hood of a car in Staten Island, and I thought I was done. He took me to a side field and said, "Listen, you don't know this, but when you go out to Bellingham, Washington for the Mariners, you're going to play the infield. And I want you to switch hit too." And I was like, "Okay, Joe, whatever you say." He's also the reason that I became a scout. He stayed with me after I got released, and he got me interview after interview, and I really respect what he did for my career. I wouldn't be here without him. Ralph DeLillo is another guy I have to mention. Major League Scouting Bureau, probably the patron saint of baseball. Guy would call you up in the off season just to make sure you were working out, just to tell him, to motivate you. It was unbelievable. He ran the Bureau. There's a lot of people in here that know Ralph. Guy meant a lot to me. Kevin Towers, another guy that can't believe isn't here anymore. I was a part-time scout for Pittsburgh. He came in to fly in to see some of my players, Billy Koch and Peter Monroe. I remember it like it was yesterday. And he was there with me for 3 or 4 days, and then he left. And I was living in the Bronx. I got a package 2 days later, and it was an overnight package. Kevin Towers went to a FedEx place and made a copy of every report he wrote. I'll never forget that. I still have the reports. No, I didn't get trained. I just got to stop watching the gun, said, "Go get us players." That meant the world to me. And then I ended up working for him in San Diego for 5 years. I miss him. Jack Zarinsik. Jack was the scouting director in Pittsburgh. I worked with Jack for 3 years, 3 different teams. Pittsburgh, he was the scouting director. Milwaukee, scouting director. And then he became the GM of Seattle, and he gave me an opportunity that you can only dream of if you're a scout. I became the scouting director of the Mariners, and I owe Jack Zarinsik a lot. Him and I were with each other for 3 different organizations, and he treated me really well. A couple of other people I'd like to thank before I get off. Bill LaJoy, he was my mentor in Florida. I got lucky. I went down to Florida to scout. Bill LaJoy lived 3 miles from me. I learned more about baseball and people from Bill LaJoy than anybody. Randy Smith, my pro director in San Diego. I was lucky to be around people that were good at their jobs. You take a little bit from people. from the people that are in charge. Ray Montgomery, Ray's here, Bobby Heck, Mark Loomis, Ted Simmons, Pete Vukovich, Tommy Allison, Billy Massey. I could just keep going on and on about all the great people I work with. And now I'm in Kansas City, and the staff, a lot of the staff is here. If I forget anybody, I'm going to get ripped in the meetings, so that's fine. Lonnie Goldberg, I competed against Lonnie as a scouting director. I know his work ethic, and I also know all the big leaguers he got. His right-hand man, Danny Ontiveros, these two guys really get after it, and they welcomed me after Dayton Moore brought me in after I was in Seattle. Thank you, Dayton. Lastly, I don't want to, the front office is here. We've got Scott Sharp, Emily Penning, Daniel Mack. I don't want to leave anybody out. Paul Gibson, Mitch, I can see you there. And we have our manager, Matt Cotrero, Brian Sweeney. I'm leaving people out, but I work now for the scouting director, a guy named Brian Bridges, and his assistant is Colin Gonzalez. And it's easy to get up in the morning and work for a guy like Bridges. He's really good at what he does. And we all work together, and the atmosphere is great. I can't be more blessed. I'm leaving out people like I always do. Lastly, my time in Seattle. I worked under Jerry DiPoto. When I got let go in Seattle, I told him on the phone, I said, Jerry, thanks for the opportunity. I learned a lot from you. Those are people in charge that you walk away from a program like that and you learn things, you take it to the next organization you're with. I work with Scott Hunter, the scouting director, talented guy, good guy even though he's an Eagles fan. But I was lucky to work around great people, Justin Hollander. I could go on and on all day. But I'm probably over the limit, but I just wanted to say thanks to everyone. You guys being here really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tommy. He forgets to tell you about the time that we went to Columbia University, and we're sitting there, and I'm sitting right behind me. He was 1993, he just started scouting. I'm sitting right behind him, and we went to see this guy named Garrett Newbart, who went in the 5th round with the Mets. And Tommy was sitting with Benny Looper, and Garrett ran down the line, and I look at my watch, I get a 4:04. I look in front to see Tommy, he's got 4:03. And I go, Tommy, what'd you get? He goes, my clicker, it's not clicking, there's something going on, whatever happened. He came up to me later on, he goes, I didn't want to tell you, I thought I was going to get fired. Anyway, Tommy, it was great working with you, man. You're the best, brother. Okay, our West Coast winner, Logan White, San Diego Padres, will be introduced by A.J. Preller, general manager.
It's an honor to be here tonight to present Logan White as the West Coast Scout of the Year. I had left the commissioner's office. I was there for a couple of years. My first job with the major league team was with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2002. And Dan Evans was the first-year GM. Kim Hang was the assistant GM. And Don Welke was a tremendous scout, tremendous baseball mind. He was the senior advisor, and Dan had allowed Don to basically, hire the scouting director and the international scouting director. And Don's hand-picked choice for the scouting director was Logan, who he had worked with the Orioles and had been tremendous with both the Orioles and the Padres. And Don thought the world of Logan, and his choice as the international scouting director was Rene Francisco. And all three of us got started that year. It's first time for me, just in baseball, sitting back and learning. And they became two of my best friends in the game. And to be up here tonight with them is really, absolutely really cool, and one of the highlights, honestly, for me in this job. So, the first draft room that I sat in 2002, I thought I knew a lot about the draft. I was kind of that guy that studied Baseball America, knew everything about every player, statistics. I was learning from the great, Jim Callis and John Manuel and Josh Boyd, and these guys telling me how the game was. And I got into the first draft room with the Dodgers, and I thought I knew all about Sergio Santos and Clint Everts and Drew Meyer and those guys, and all of a sudden I watched Logan White run a draft room, and it was we were talking about a first-round draft pick, a left-handed hitter from Elkins High School, who Baseball America had ranked as a high school pitcher, and Logan thought he was one of the best bats in the country, probably second behind Prince Fielder, honestly, and it was James Loney. I'm kind of thinking, man, these guys know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. Then the second round comes along, and we're putting our draft board up, and they love this right-hand pitcher. They thought he was the best arm in the country. Big body guy big frame guy out of Georgia. They said, man, in a few years, this guy's going to be closing games for a big league team. It's actually not me this time, honestly. Usually I'm that guy. But it's always good to have Sal here. And you go and see it. We took Jonathan Broxton. In minute one, he was in pro ball throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. And a few years ago, he's closing games for the Dodgers. Logan also sit in the back of the room, and I'm just listening and learning, maybe thinking, yeah, maybe Baseball America. And I didn't have all the answers at that time. As I started to learn a little bit more, he talked about conversion guys and asking the staff that year to look for guys. I think maybe because of Benji Molina at one point in time, he was looking for guys that, infielders that he thought could go behind the plate, asking our staff to check that out. And John Barr, who I believe won this award a few years ago, and Clarence Johns, two really good scouts as well. They had a third baseman at Chipola Junior College, and they said, man, I think this guy might become a catcher one day. It was Russell Martin, who went out and ended up being one of the best catchers in his generation, honestly. And that's the way the first couple of drafts went. At the height of Moneyball, which really was about like zigging when other people are zagging and finding the value. Logan was able to find value for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We took 48 of 50, I believe, high school picks that year, which is like unheard of. And the main reason why is because everybody else was going a different way. And I go into the second year of the draft, and I'm sitting back and I'm learning from one of the greats, honestly. And we take Chad Billingsley. You're not supposed to take high school right-handed pitchers. Logan would tell me, well, I can take him because I'm pretty good at it. So, and over the years I got to see he was. We took A.J. Ellis in that draft, who I believe is in this room, will probably be a future big league manager and caught for over 10 years. And then we took a six-rounder that year who was a basketball player, who, was kind of his first love. And I think Logan had kind of gone in there and snuck around and, did some recon behind the scenes. And we ended up taking Matt Kemp, who ends up being a National League MVP. So, I learned a ton from Logan, from Renee, from that group. Look around the room, it was George Genovese, it was Don Welke, it was Marty Lamb, it was Clarence Johns, it was John Barr, it was some of the best scouts in the game, with probably the best scouting director in the game. The next few years later, I left to go to the Texas Rangers. I remember calling Logan. We took a high school lefty, Casey Kiker, and kind of all excited. Yeah, we got this Casey Kiker. I was doing the international stuff and then pro stuff. Logan said, well, we got a high school lefty too. Name was Kershaw. And he said, I think he's going to be a game changer for the LA Dodgers. So, and it wasn't, Logan talked a lot about drafting, looking for whales and not minnows. And that always stuck with me over the years, overall, and brought that with as we've gone to the Rangers and to the Padres here. And it wasn't just like the top guys though. It was Nathan Eovaldi, a Tommy John kid out of high school. Then after a while there, I would get on Logan and say, man, you're only really good with pitchers, dude. You can't go after these position players. You don't understand bats. Then he rolled Seager, Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, Dee Gordon, and Alex Verdugo, I think, in 4 straight years. MVP, World Series MVP, probably future Hall of Famer. And basically, I thought, all right, you're pretty good at this job, honestly, Logan. So, when I got the job here in San Diego, one of the first things I did, sitting down with Don Welke, said we got to find a way to get Logan White to come over here and be part of our group. And it's been a different role in San Diego. I think, for some guys are really good at seeing amateur talent. Some guys are really good at seeing pro talent. Some guys are really good at seeing international talent. Logan has a tremendous feel for the game of baseball and how to make big-time decisions. So in this role, what he's been with for me has been my right-hand man. He's been somebody that, over the last 12 years, every decision we've made, whether it's managers, which we've made a few of those, whether it's, drafting Mackenzie Gora, trading for Juan Soto, whether it's process and different systems we've put in place, I haven't made any decision without reaching out and calling Logan and getting his take. And also for Logan over the last 10 plus years, it's been being a mentor. You know, you look out in the room, whether it's Chris Kemp or Mark Connor, who was with us last night, Preston Mattingly, Josh Stein. Logan's been a mentor to a lot of great minds in the game of baseball. You know, again, we're always in this room to talk about baseball. I think for me, just being friends with Logan, you know, seeing, like, growing up and seeing the love that he has for his family. You know, we talked a lot about his son Logan that's here tonight, his exploits on the baseball field, recently him going out and becoming a pilot. And I love hearing Logan talk with pride about his son going out and finding a different pursuit that he absolutely loves. Jessica, his wife, Ezra, his grandchild that's here tonight. And honestly, one of the coolest things for me over the last few years is seeing Logan's love of his wife, Pam. And, you know, seeing them become, you know, just go out, do things outside of baseball, do things within the baseball game. And Pam becoming a huge part of the Padre family. So it's an absolute honor for me to be here tonight, introduce my really good friend and colleague, Logan White.
Good evening, and bear with me, I might get a little bit emotional. Thanks, AJ. I'm going to read a little bit, and I got Pam's glasses, so you can tell. I got to tell you, AJ is so special to me. We've been together a long time, like he mentioned. I won't go into a long story, but back in our LA days, and I will tell you this, we both interviewed for the GM job in San Diego. AJ was the one that got the job. And after he brought me down and I got hired, I remember going to the owner, and I'd been in meetings with AJ, and I'd seen how he'd matured and how aggressive he was and how sensitive but how smart and how intellectual he is. I told our owner, Peter Seiler, who was fantastic and has passed away, we both loved him. I told Peter he made the right choice. And to this day, I still feel like that, AJ. Peter definitely made the right choice, and I love you very much. I'm truly honored to be here tonight to receive this award, along with such a great group of recipients. To all of you, nothing but the deepest congratulations and respect. Thank you, Roberta and staff, for all the effort, the work, the love that you put into Scout of the Year. It's amazing what she does. To all you recipients up here, each and every one of you, I've seen you on the trails and competed against you and love you and have so much respect for each and every one of you. I thank God for blessing me with this journey, for the talent, the opportunities, the relationships, and the ability to do the work I love. I also feel immense gratitude for the game itself, for the organizations I've been part of, and for the players, coaches, and colleagues who've made this journey so meaningful. I want to honor Dina, my first wife, who passed away from leukemia. She was an important part of my journey, and I carry her memory with me. I want to recognize the table here, my wonderful and beautiful wife, Pam. Your love, support, and patience have been my anchor through the last few years. I'm grateful to share this journey with you. We're a great team. To my son, Logan, his wife, Jessica, my grandson, Ezra, your love, laughter, and support remind me daily what matters most. You brought joy, pride, and purpose into my life in ways that words can't fully captivate. To my college teammate and best friend, Tim Bravo, I love you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your loyalty, and thank you for being here for 40 plus years. I also have a surprise addition. Nikki Ballage, chairman of the Arizona Sports Entertainment Commissioner, flew in and surprised me. Craig Thompson, who was the Mountain West Commissioner for 25 years, flew in and surprised me. Thank you guys for being here, and their son, Joey. I truly thank you guys. Baseball's been more than a career. It's a family, a classroom, and at times the greatest teacher I've ever had. I spent 4 decades in professional baseball. Whoops, there goes my water. Learning, growing, and yes, sometimes making mistakes. I've been fortunate to see young players evolve into stars, to help build teams that achieve more than I ever imagined, and to work alongside colleagues who've challenged me to be better every single day. Those moments, those people are what defines my career. I still remember one of the first players I really believed in. I remember watching him grow, watching him face adversity, and eventually succeeding. And I even remember speaking at his parents' memorial. I remember attending players' weddings, being a small part of lives and careers, watching their brightest moments and being there when it ends. That's the part of the job that made every long trip, every long day, every short night, and every tough decision worth it. Baseball isn't just a game, it's stories, persistence, trust, and relationships that endure far beyond the field. I could not have accomplished any of this without you. If you mentored me, if you hired me, if I hired you, if I drafted you, if you scouted next to me, if we shared a meal together, you negotiated with me, we talked baseball and players, or we shared a draft room, or you've advised me, and so on. I'm talking about you. I respectfully don't want to leave anybody out. There's so many of you in this room and so many I see, I don't want to leave anybody out. So I'm not going to mention a lot of names. But if you fit that criteria, you know I'm talking about you. The victories were ours together, and even the setbacks were lessons I could only have learned because of you. So I hope you know, each and every one of you that I'm not mentioning, but I did mention, knows how important you've been in my life, my career, and helped shape me to the person I am today. Speaking of stories, this reminds me of a poem by James S. Tippett called The Train of Life. You see, at birth, we board a train, and on this train we meet our parents, and we believe that we'll always travel alongside our parents. However, at some station, our parents will step down from the train, leaving us on this journey alone. As time goes by, other people will board this train, and they will be significant, our siblings, friends, children, and even the love of our life. Many will step down and leave a permanent vacuum. Some, however, will go unnoticed, and we didn't realize they were even there. The train ride will be full of joy, sorrow, fantasy, expectation, hellos, goodbyes, and farewells. Success consists of having a good relationship with all passengers, requiring that we are the best of ourselves. So you see, the mystery to everyone is we do not know at which station we ourselves will step down. So we must live in the best way, love, forgive, and be the best of who we are. It is important to do this because when the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories for those who will continue to travel on this train of life. Reap success and give lots of love. More importantly, thank God. And thank God for the journey. Thank you all for being passengers on my train. I wish you a joyful journey on this train of life. Tonight, as I look across this podium and around the room, I know I've traveled this train alongside incredible people, teammates, players, mentors, and family. And as Tippett reminds us, I hope I leave behind memories that make this journey meaningful for those of you who continue onward. So tonight, like Tippett's poem, it's my turn to step off this train. Sadly, my younger sister, Lynette, who is a stage 4 cancer survivor from esophageal cancer, when she was 41, has had it return. Pam and I, along with the family, are looking forward to spending more time caring for her and sharing moments that truly matter. After 40 years, I exit Major League Baseball with a full heart, a deep sense of pride, and immense gratitude. I carry with me the lessons, the memories, and the relationships that have shaped my life. I leave this career not because I'm forced to, but because you helped me earn the freedom to do so. Moving forward, I'm excited to embrace the next chapter, to fish on a Tuesday, and to do something I've never been able to do, take a cruise during the draft, and savor each moment with the family and friends with the same passion I brought to the game. I leave baseball as I hope to have lived it, with dedication, integrity, and love. Thank you especially to the Padres, AJ, and the Seidler family. It's been a great ride. Thank you for the trust, the guidance, and the memories, and the blessings. I'll carry them forever. I love all of you.
Wow, what an inspirational speech. Wow, powerful. Now to introduce our previous winners, Dan Jennings.
You're not a tough guy to follow after that one, boy. Might be one of the best speeches in all our years, coming to hear that from the heart. And you have had one hell of a career, man. Congratulations. Enjoy retirement. Live it the way you scouted. Okay. So congratulations to everyone here, this year's group of winners. So it's a tremendous group with a lot of honors. You've left your mark on the game, and you're still leaving your mark on the game. But we want to take the time right now to recognize the past recipients. If you will, just stand up and we'll hold our applause, and then we will recognize you at the end. Bobby Heck, John Barr, Danny Montgomery, Russ Beauvais, Chuck Lamar, Stevie Williams, Brad Sloan, Mike Arbuckle, R.J. Harrison, Eric Kubota, Damon Oppenheimer, Grady Fuson, Rolando Fernandez, Louis El Hawa, Johnny DePuglia, Sal Agostinelli. And if we miss someone, please stand up, tell us. We tried to get them all, but we may have. Okay, let's recognize. Okay, Salvatore.
Great job, D. I'm sorry. Curveball. D, curveball. All right, guys, our international winner this year is Rene Francisco of the Kansas City Royals. He will be introduced by Dayton Moore, Senior Advisor, Baseball Operation, Texas Rangers.
What a great honor it is to be amongst each and every one of you tonight. And I was speaking to my good friend Mikey Guerrero, the son of Epi Guerrero, the great scout and legendary scout and pioneer, and he said that right never changes, and this group is what's right about baseball. And again, it's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to recognize our good friend, our trusted friend, our respected colleague, Rene Francisco, as the 2025 International Scout of the Year. Rene, your dedication to the game of baseball has paid great dividends. Most importantly, you've made your living providing for your family, doing something that you love. You've given hundreds of players the opportunity to pursue this great game, and your successes are many. Dozens of players that you signed made it to the major leagues, 42 to be exact, and there's more on the horizon. And what's incredible, those 42 players account for 176 days of service time, with 14 of the 42 with 5+ years of major league service time. You've signed Gold Glovers, Silver Sluggers, Rookies of the Year, Trevor Hoffman Award winners, World Series MVPs, and future Hall of Famers. We all know those faces as Rafael Furcal, Kenley Jensen, Carlos Santana, Salvador Perez, Miguel Garcia. But there's one signing, Renee, that you never got credit for. Randall Delgado, right-handed pitcher. See, in 2006, early spring of 2006, Renee had an agreement with Randall Delgado out of Panama. 2 months later, we left Atlanta to Kansas City. And I said to Renee, Renee, there's only 3 people in the world that know about this agreement. It's you, it's me, and it's Randall. We need to take this guy to Kansas City. Renee looked me in the eye, didn't hesitate, and he said, no, we signed that player with the Braves, and he'll remain a Brave. Trusted friend, speaking integrity, making me better. Thank you for that, Renee. Renee, I know you're just as proud as the players that you signed that didn't make it to the major leagues. Your legacy is forever carved in their lives as you've helped many of them off the field. I've watched you provide for them financially. You've celebrated their weddings, their birthdays. You've been at the burial sites of some of those players, and you've mourned with their families. You've helped many a player get jobs as scouts and coaches. Those stories won't be recorded in baseball history, but it's that character that sustains the game and creates the legacy that we're all proud of. You've contributed to the betterment of the game because you have taken on the cause to make players better people, and you forever impacted their lives as future leaders. Finally, your greatest legacy is your family. I've watched you, how you've always kept Claudia number one, and you always fought to be with her and spend time with her. And being a father to Diego was the most important thing to you. And I know you're proud of the man he is, and he's proud of you. So please join me in recognizing the 2025 International Scout of the Year, your good friend, your respected friend, Renee Francisco.
Dane, thank you very much. Like I always said, you know my life better than anybody else. And JJ, I want to say thank you for letting him be here and present this award. Roberta, thank you for having this wonderful night, and thanks the Scout of the Year Foundation, because I think it's a great honor to be here. But I also want to thank everyone here. You guys, some of you know me at games. I don't say much. I don't talk much. I go by, but I just like to watch the game. I learned that from Bill LaJoy. I want to thank my family, Claudia and Diego, for their support, patience, love, wisdom, and truly, I love you both. cannot have done this without you. Claudia, you are the backbone of this family. And like a mentor of mine, Paul Snyder, always said, if you don't have someone that is close and believes in you, you will never be able to do this job. It's an honor to be recognized amongst this group of people here, Jim, Tom, and Logan. Logan, I didn't know that about you, but I love you. And there's two previous winners that I want to recognize. They're legends, and they were part of this award. It's Epi Guerrero and Raf Avila. They were great innovators. I learned from them. I'm honored to have worked over 30 years in baseball for three great organizations: Atlanta, LA Dodgers, and the Royals. And I've been lucky enough to be in 2 World Series and won 2 World Series, or being a part of different World Series and won 2 World Series. 1995 with the Atlanta Braves, and 2015 with the Kansas City Royals. I fell in love with baseball at a very young age, but it was because of my dad. He took me to my first game back in the Dominican Republic. He and my mother taught me something, two qualities that I always believe in, and because they taught me: responsibility and honesty. And that I will never forget that. In 1992, I was given the opportunity to be an associate scout for the Atlanta Braves. The person that brought me, or that I met, was Carlos Rio. He gave me that opportunity. At the end of that year, he asked me to fly to Atlanta and meet Chuck Lamar. I met Chuck Lamar. I didn't know what I was doing. I went and talked to him. He asked me questions. I didn't really know that it was an interview. But Chuck asked me if I knew if I could go against Epi Guerrero and Raf Avila and Winston Jenner. I really didn't know those people because I knew what was going on in the United States. At that age, I was 24 years old. And Chuck, thank you very much for giving me that opportunity. I moved from the United States to the Dominican Republic in 1993 for my first job. When I was there was no cell phones, there was no GPS, but I remember my brother, older brother, stepbrother, gave me a map to go around the island to learn the island. And boy, did I learned a lot, and it was the best thing I ever did. I learned a lot, not only from the culture. I know I came from the Dominican, but I learned the culture, and I learned the entire island. From there on, I stayed with the Braves for 10 plus years. I went from being an area scout in the Dominican. I did South Florida, and then I was given the opportunity by Roy Clark when he became the head of scouting to do Latin America. But I want to thank people that helped me there, and I learned a lot about player development and scouting there, my years there. From Paul Snyder, a mentor, Bill LaJoy, tough man. Stan Kasten, probably one of the best negotiators I've ever seen. Chino Carajilla, probably one of the best person in player development. Jose Martinez. And of course, the architect, John Sherholtz. From there, I went to the Dodgers for 3 years. And I'm going to mention 3 names. And there's a lot of names that I can mention, but 2 of them are here. The other person is up in heaven. And that's Don Welke, a mentor to me. The other 2 is A.J. Preller and Logan White. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Logan, And what I learned from AJ was he was intelligent. I really didn't know he was going to become a GM, but there was other people that believed that, and that was Don Wilkie. I worked there for those 3 years, and then I went to the Royals in 2006. There's too many names that I like to mention that are my colleagues, but we'd like to thank all the entire baseball operation of the Kansas City Royals. It's a large group, and they've been my family for 20 years. To be 20 years in one team is a lot, and I'm really proud of that. I want to especially thank the international operation. And lastly, I'd like to thank 3 people. One is Daniel Guerrero. He's been by my side the last 4 or 5 years, I believe, but he's been with us for 8 years. Daniel, I hope to see you here one day. And honestly, I'm going to say this to JJ. Bill LaJoy, when he spoke here at the Scout of the Year Award, he said something to John Sherholtz and said, don't ever let Dayton and Renee leave your organization. I say the same thing about Daniel Guerrero. Victor Baez, our director in the academy in the Dominican, I known him for 23 years, worked with him with the Dodgers and now with Kansas City. What a great person that guy is. And he's a mentor to those kids and coaches. I just want to thank him a lot. And then, lastly, I want to thank a brother from another mother, the person that came up here and asked me to come here, and that's Dayton Moore. He's like a brother. He's a friend, a mentor. There's many good things that went on. There was a lot of bad nights in Kansas City when we worked together, but we kept going. And we had some good nights at the Residence Inn with some red wine. So I want to thank everyone, and thank you for having me here. Thank you.
What a great night. A couple of guys asked me to tell a story I had from when I was a scout years ago. And when I first started, and every time I look at Mike Arbuckle, it reminds me. In 1993 was my first year in scouting. I was working on the New York area, New England, down to Maryland. And there was a pitcher in my area named Billy Koch, who all of you know, that was pitching at West Babylon High School. And I had coached in AA the year before, and he was better than any of the pitchers we had in AA, and he was 18 years old. So we took a guy in the first round, and at that time we have no cell phones, and I had to run like a half a mile. And during the draft, Mike Arbuckle says to me, listen, you got 240 plus college. Go up and tell the father. So I go running half a mile, get there. I said, Mr. Koch, he was 7 foot tall. I'm like, hey, do you want 240? I'll take it, I'll take it. I go running by the dugout, and Jack Battaglia, who happened to be a really good friend of mine, was the coach of the team. He goes, he's not taking 240. I run back to the father. I said, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Finally, I ran back to the telephone about a mile away. I get to Mike, and I said, hey, Mike, I don't know what to do. You know, the one guy tells me his dad. He goes, we're not taking him. Boom, hang up the phone. Scott Rowland in the second round. So I thought that was a really, really good story to get a Hall of Famer. Anyway, but our international winner, our Roberta Masur Distinguished Woman of the Year winner goes to Cheryl Evans, who couldn't be here tonight. But Ryan Gorko, the assistant GM of the Detroit Tigers, would like to say a few words for her.
Hi, everybody. It's a real honor to be here tonight to celebrate Cheryl. I think first I just want to say thank you to Roberta and to the committee. This is a really wonderful event. And from Cheryl and all of the Tigers, congratulations to all of the winners tonight. Incredible stories, incredible careers in baseball. It's really an honor to sit here and listen to the impact that you've all had on the game. So Cheryl couldn't be here tonight. I was always going to introduce her, and we'll accept the award on her behalf tonight. She's doing great. She did want everybody to know she's doing great. Her health is fine. There are just some personal things that came up that kept her from being here tonight. But she does want to hear from everybody. She's very humble, and she's gonna kill me for saying this. But if you would please make her day very busy tomorrow with calls from friends and colleagues from around the game. The other thing, Cheryl, she did want me to say, I called her today, I called her one last time, and when she sent me out, she's like, do you have a notes or anything, a speech? I was like, yeah, I wrote some notes down, I have your thoughts. And she's okay, well at the top of the paper for me, just write, go fast. So I will be brief, but it is Cheryl's wishes, not because we don't love her in Detroit. So, just to talk about Cheryl's career, 45 years in the game of baseball. She was a Montreal Expo from 1969 to 1972. Took a little break, then again an Expo from 1985 to 1991. She then went to the expansion Florida Marlins from 1991 to 2005. And in 2005, she joined the Detroit Tigers and is still with us today. This will be her 21st season with the Tigers in 2026. I asked her what her proudest moments were, and of course, team player. She said it was the 2 World Series with the Marlins and the 2 American League Championships that she won as a Tiger in 2006 and 2012. When I think about Cheryl, I think any player that's ever got to put on a pro uniform, there's a story about a scout that believed in them enough to turn their name in and to fight to get them drafted. And I think every scout in this room probably has a number of stories about fighting for a player to get a player drafted that went on to have a great career that maybe some others didn't believe in. And then there's Cheryl, who has spent 45 years in the game as the person behind those things happening, doing nothing but supporting and helping and guiding scouts and coaches and players to have great careers and do great things. She's so deserving of this award because she's never had her name next to a first-round pick, but she's been a part of all 45 of them with every team that she was a part of. And she wasn't down in the clubhouse celebrating some of those wins, but she certainly should have been. And she probably was the one that ordered the champagne, but they probably don't happen without her and all the support she was giving everybody. And she's always done it in the background. You ask her to do anything, and it's done. She'll take on any project that anyone asks her to do. When nobody else wants to raise their hand, she's like, I got it, and it's done. What's nice tonight is for someone who's spent a career supporting others is it's just about her, and we're all so excited to have her name in lights and to let her contributions to the game of baseball be recognized. Couple stories. I asked her. I've been bugging her. But give me your best stories so I can tell the room. I think her best one that she wanted me to share tonight was when the Marlins were being formed. Somebody had a really good idea. Hey, let's have an open tryout. So she said, okay. So scouting director and her should go to a local field. It's 6:30 in the morning. They're expecting 100 players, maybe. 700 players are standing in the parking lot. Guess who got to register all 700 players by herself? So Cheryl registers 700 guys. They get them warmed up. They're there for 13 hours. They run everybody through the workout. And at 7:30 at night, they decide to sign one player. They bring Ryan Whitman over to Cheryl's car. She pulls a contract out of her trunk. They pull flashlights out because it was dark by then, and out of the 700, they signed one player, and it was Cheryl admin the entire event and just got it done. Her other good story was 1990 draft, the amateur draft, 101 rounds. She said they drafted back then until you didn't want to pick anymore. This is pre-computer, obviously. There were 3 contracts per player that needed to be typed on an electric typewriter. Guess who did all 303? Cheryl knocked out 303 contracts, got 303 FedEx envelopes, sent them to the scouts. The scouts signed the players, sent them all back. I was like, Cheryl, why didn't you have your assistant do it? And it's the hardest she ever laughed when I asked her why. She said there were no assistants then. It was just a couple of us just knocking it out one after the other. I think when I think about Cheryl today, her office is 5 doors down from mine in Lakeland. And she's always in there working. Her computer's up. She's in EBIS doing something. And there's a chair across her desk. And most every time that I walk by that office, there's somebody sitting in that chair. And sometimes they're talking about work, or sometimes it's a player talking about insurance or their paycheck. But most of the time, it has nothing to do with work. It's just Cheryl continuing to mentor and help and offer advice, offer guidance for young employees, or myself included. I've sat in that chair many times myself. And then I think about 45 years of that, 45 years of advice, 45 years of mentoring, 45 years of helping. That's FCL players that have turned into all-stars have sat in that chair. Video assistants that are now GMs have sat in that chair. Probably 3 generations of the game have been mentored by Cheryl Evans, just because she felt the need to offer that seat and offer an ear. And anybody that needed to just talk and just be listened to, Cheryl's always there, and she still is to this day. Last thing for me, I do just really want to recognize what a trailblazer Cheryl Evans has been in the game of baseball. As a woman in baseball, helping to create a more inclusive and diverse workplace in our game. When you do talk to her, a lot of the jobs she had coming through, she was the first woman to ever hold that job. Most of the rooms she was in for a majority of her career, she was the only woman in there. She's kicked down doors, she's raised ceilings for others. She continues to mentor and help guide other women in the game find their roles, and allow them to follow her into bigger and better things. But I don't think without Cheryl's contribution they could happen. To this day, she continues to push us to choose the best candidates every time we hire, regardless of gender, race, or background, and we're all better for it. It is truly an honor for the Detroit Tigers to honor Cheryl tonight, to be a part of this. I am now going to read a speech from Cheryl that she wanted me to share tonight. All right. I come before you to stand behind you to tell you something I know nothing about, accepting an award like this. I am honored and humbled to accept this award. I want to express my appreciation for everyone who has shared their time and wisdom with me. Your impact is woven into everything I do. Over my 45 years in professional baseball, I've experienced countless moments. Most were small and quiet, yet these very moments carried me to places I never expected. Life moves quickly, faster than you realize while you're living it. And it's all those little moments and the people who fill them that truly shape your life and who you become. It has been all about the people this entire time. Congratulations to the other 2025 Scout of the Year award winners. Thank you to Roberta Mazur and the Scout of the Year Foundation for this honor. Thank you, everybody.
Our Midwest Award winner is Jim Hendry of the New York Yankees. He will be introduced by Damon Oppenheimer, Assistant GM, New York Yankees.
Thanks for the promotion, Sal. It's the first time I've heard about this. I got the whole tables over here laughing their balls off because of you giving out promotions. So I appreciate it. So thanks. Berta, thank you very much again. You put on another incredible event. The time, the effort, the heart that you put into this, it means so much to everyone. The relationships that we all have with each other in here, it's tremendous. And I know, we fully appreciate it. It's great. So, this is a pretty tough act to follow with Logan announcing his retirement. It's like, being a good guitar player, but you're following Jimi Hendrix. I mean, it's like, it's tough to win, right? So, congratulations to Renee. Congratulations to Mac, to you, Logan. You guys have all signed numerous great players. It's a laundry list of players that you guys have all signed. More importantly, you've touched me all through different ways. You've impacted me. People talk here about how you influence and you learn from people. It's quite a group here. I mean, I learned. Logan and I worked together in San Diego, and his speech was incredible. But he's a competitive man, and I also learned one thing is you don't tell him that a player he's talking about is an NP, because he did that, and the guy did that to him in San Diego, the national cross-checker, and all of a sudden there's a scuffle going on on the other side of the table, and he's beating the hell out of him. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, yeah, it's the truth. Don't say it. So, so I learned real quick. I learned a lot from Logan, especially don't tell him his guy's an NP, right? So, Mac, been to a lot of games with you. It's been great. You're always tight to the, everything close to the vest and stuff. I think what I learned a lot from you was watching your hair, the change, the color it made. I don't want to work for Jack Zarinsik because that was a little bit tough. But you're such competitors, and everybody out here is it's so fun to be around you guys. So, Cheryl Evans, that Distinguished Woman Award, that one's especially meaningful to me. Because of my mother's career in baseball. And on top of that, our former scout, Kelly Rodman, who was passed away years ago, but she was one of the first true women scouts out in the field. So that one's a real deal for me. It's an honor to win this award, but I think for me it's a bigger honor right now to be able to introduce Jim Hendry as the Midwest Scout of the Year. He'll probably get up here and say that there's other guys that deserve it and that they've done more and they've done this and that, but his peers voted for him. So that's what it means. He didn't vote for himself. So it's the peers voted for him, and he's incredible. I got to do Tim Kelly here last year, and now this year it's Jim Hendry. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit short so Jim can use most of the time entertaining us with some of his stories. And one of them is he got we all got the thing about 7 minutes. There was a misprint on his. It said 70. So you guys be ready because he might be in here talking for a while. It'll be really good for everybody. But a little bit about Jimmy. He played his college baseball at Spring Hill College. Then he went right over to Columbus High School in Miami, and he started coaching there. And he was in the summer ball in Cape Cod with Demi Maneri, who was just an absolute legend. Right after high school, he's still pretty young. He makes this jump to Creighton University in the cold Midwest, and he's the head coach at Creighton, where he basically turns a doormat program into a College World Series team in 1991. They finished third. It's the best postseason finish in the school's history. During that same year, he was named the Coach of the Year. And then right after that, after 7 seasons at Creighton and 282 wins, he comes into professional baseball. He joins the expansion Florida Marlins, doing anything and everything, working with Cheryl, working with great people like Dave Dombrowski, Gary Hughes, Warren Freeman, and numerous others. And he did everything from scouting to managing to coaching to going and getting, cookies for the draft room, I think. So the man's done everything, and he's worked with legends, and I really think he is a legend. From there, he was recruited by Andy McPhail to go to the Chicago Cubs as the farm director, and he did that, and then took on the task of being both the farm director and the scouting director, which we all know is quite an endeavor. They moved him up to assistant general manager, and then finally general manager in 2002. And like he did at Creighton, he transformed that organization into a legitimate contender. Multiple division titles, playoff appearances, and literally 5 outs away from the World Series if it isn't for Bartman in left field. After 749 wins in Chicago, Jimmy joined us with the Yankees, and we instantly got better. I was especially lucky to have him working directly with me in scouting. He's been an absolute mentor. He's always there for me, and a true friend in the scouting world. You'd think after that, his career had been, and now he's back in dabbling. You would think, he's just going to dabble in the amateur side, but that's just not who he is. If anybody of you guys know Jim's DNA, it's just not what he could do. His respect, his passion for scouting, it's unmatched. He grinds through 6 a.m. flights still like he's in his 20s, and he gives you, which shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody in here that knows him, unfiltered evaluations based on what he truly believes. We don't think he has a filter. So when it comes to the reports, it's definitely unfiltered. His work with agents, it's arguably, some of the best in the business. His relationships, they're built on honesty and trust with players and families. I mean, with names like, Greg Maddux and Aaron Judge and Volpe, amongst others, that he's just they trust him. That those guys, because of who he is, those people trust Jim. Relationships, respect, and people, that's what Jimmy's all about. He's taught me a lot. I've learned a lot from Jimmy, from scouting world to making sure how I'm going to have my vodka's got to come in a short fat glass. It can't come in a tall glass. He's going to taught me that one. Taught me when is the appropriate time and how to tip the maid when you're in a place. I think he kind of gave that one to the Tribune people too. So that's a story you guys all got to hear. It's not appropriate for this spot here though. But it's a great story. We always joke that amongst us that Jim's probably never had a thought that's gone through his head that really doesn't come straight out of his mouth too. It's probably been really great for his baseball life and, at a bar and things like that, but probably not so much in the marriage side. It probably isn't the best thing to have. But he's one of the best, and maybe not the best, but he's close to it. I mean, he's somewhere there between, with Pat Gillick and Walt Wiedemeyer. To me, he's an incredible baseball guy. He's also funny as hell too. I mean, he probably gives Andrew Dice Clay a run for his money if you guys are around him enough. So, anyway, I'm going to try to shorten it up so he can get all his time in here. But if you guys know Jim, you know he really loves his golf, and he always says that when he gets to heaven, he knows he's not going to be a first ballot guy, but he just wants to make sure that everybody knows that he should be hitting range balls and not picking them up. That's his way of thinking about purgatory. I got to tell you this stuff, the dedication that the guy's shown, it's impossible to top. You really think about it. He's literally almost died 3 times on the job. Once here in Orlando, he's negotiating a contract with Ted Lilly, and he's on a stretcher going to the hospital to to get his emergency heart surgery, and he's got his cell phone trying to sign Lily. It's like, all right, that's a little bit nuts. Then he's at Michigan State. His appendix blows out. He tries to stay through for the whole game, and he's got to, then he has to like crawl to his car to get to an emergency room. And I don't know how many days he was there, but it seemed like forever. And then he's in New York, and the same. He gets sick there. Multiple surgeries, transfusion, where even a priest was called in, and he told the priest, he goes, yeah, he kind of used a derogatory word, but he's like, you got to make sure those nuns were telling me the truth about heaven and purgatory. So he even when he's on his deathbed, he's funny. He's a serious man, but he's also hilarious. So it's, as they say, like now in Congress, I guess, I'd like to yield the rest of my time to the man who really, he's never cheated the man in the mirror. And that's what he can say about himself as a man and as a baseball guy. He's never cheated the man in the mirror. So please welcome your Midwest Scout of the Year and one of my best friends, Jim Hendry.
Thank you, Damon. I might get to you a little later, too. Before I get going, I want to thank our great MC tonight, Sal. Sal, I appreciate you getting my name right. You were about 1 for 6 on the dais. Okay?
That was my Batman.
Yeah, and then I thought we heard that same Scott Rowland talk when you got in here a couple years ago. That 47-minute Johnson you gave us. So anyhow, one more thing about Sal, I got to tell, we've known each other a long time before I get to thinking the right people, but we see each other a lot, go to lunch 4 or 5 times a year. Known him a long time. So I got to town yesterday before lunch, and Sal said, hey, let's go to lunch. And usually it's a typical, the scouting world of today. Usually the lunches, we complain about the meal money got cut and the expenses aren't what they used to be, the typical stuff. And we're about halfway through lunch yesterday, and he says, Jimmy, he said, I'll tell you what, you've bought the last 6 times we've had lunch. Let's flip for this one. Anyhow, just kidding, Sal. I wanted to thank Roberta, obviously, the Hall of Fame board, and all the people up here, award winners tonight. I've known Logan a long time, and he's a tough dude. And shit, he had me crying. I didn't think he ever cried, but it was a great talk, and to be coming in tonight with Logan and Mac is great, and a lot of the guys that were peers of mine. Grady Fuson guys on the board, Dan Jennings, D Mac, fuck great, and just a tremendous honor. And Damon's right. I'm not trying to be Mr. Humbler here, but really so many people that have been scouts all their life and done it longer and harder than me, and they never get accolades. They should be up here tonight, not me. I'm honored. I'm flattered that I'm voted by my peers, but I would like to myself honor the profession tonight. It's not about giving you Jim Hendry's life story. The scouting profession is, in the old days, it used to be called on a regular basis, the backbone of an organization. And when I was thinking about the path I have taken, and that's the only reason why I'll mention my semi-story, I've been in, this is be my 49th year in baseball, and I've only worked 5 places. Amateur coach at Columbus High School and Creighton, and then the original Marlins, the Cubs, and now the Yankees. And when I was thinking about what to say the other day, when I was connecting the dots, I've had a lot of jobs, and a lot of things went well for me. And every place I went, if I look at it honestly, it was because of the scouting profession. So everything in baseball, when it comes to players, evaluating players, whether it's recruiting in college, whether it's the draft, your minor league system, evaluating trades, free agents, you name it, it's all really evaluating players. Obviously, there's a whole different dimension of evaluating now, and a lot of the modern day stuff is helpful and important, but nobody in here in this profession, and the people that aren't here, and the great scouts that went before us, should ever not forget how important they were to the game. The impact made on changing people's lives, signing people, getting people to the big leagues, hiring younger scouts to take your place, impacting an organization, making the franchise better. No one in this industry will ever get enough credit for the scouting end of your life and the people that came before us. So that's really what I wanted to do tonight, was honor the scouts. And when I get back to my original starting 48 years ago, I got out of college thinking I was going to be a broadcaster. And I took the job at Columbus High School because I was trying to get into Channel 4 in Miami and the part-time this and minimal money and broke. And Columbus High School paid me $9,000. How they ever let me teach English and math at a Catholic private high school, I'll never know. But I became the assistant varsity baseball coach. And at the end of the year, Demi Maneri, the legendary coach at Miami-Dade, had 37 major leaguers at that school. Besides being a great coach, he was a great evaluator, obviously. You have that many biggers, you have a real fond intuition and makeup that you can evaluate players. And I went to the Cape Cod League with him, not ready for that either at 22. And on that Cape Cod League team was Randy Bush, Paul Maneri, the Hall of Fame coach that became the Hall of Fame coach at LSU, and Joe Housey, all these people became not only 50-year friends of mine, but lifetime co-workers at times and others. And I knew then that I was starting to get this, I really liked this. And then when I went home in the fall, I went over to Dayton North a lot and helped at practice. And Demi Maneri introduced me to one of the most legendary scouts of all time, Walt Widmeyer. If you worked in the industry in the 70s and 80s, he was one of the GOATs. And if you ever worked for the Chicago White Sox, forever, he was the guy. He was Roland Heeman's right-hand man. And for whatever reason, Walt took a liking to me, and I didn't know how lucky I was. If we weren't playing at Columbus High School, I was going to games with Walt Widmeyer. Back in the days, scouts didn't travel in packs. Walt sat down the right field line in a lawn chair, and I learned so much about baseball and about scouting and he helped me be a better coach. So by the second year out of college, those two people, Walt Widmeyer and Demi Maneri, that's who I wanted to be like. The TV thing kind of took the back burner. When I went to bed at night, I wanted to be one of those two guys. And in this profession, how lucky I was, I got to do both eventually. Not as good as either one of them in their own way, but I got to do both. And those two men changed the whole direction of what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And here I am 48 years later, and a lot of it had to do with them. So I got a big break. I went to Creighton, and when I went there, Walt thought I was crazy. But back then, I wanted to be a college coach first. And there wasn't turnover like there is now. And Doc Maneri told me, hey, you're not going to get any jobs in South Florida in college. Nobody's getting fired. Everybody's good. So I took a chance. What I didn't know was, before I got there, Walt Widmeyer called the White Sox scouts in the Midwest, Stan Zielinski, Mark Service, and told them, I don't know why the kid's going to that place, but help him get some players. And when I first got there, the first year, the other scout I met was Marty Woolliver. He lived in Omaha. He was with the Yankees then, area scout. And in the next 7 years, those three guys sent me all the players. It was a wonderful relationship. They helped me greatly. I was the head coach. I had one assistant for like $6,000. We didn't have a field on campus. And 7 years later, we played in the World Series, not because it was the coach. 25 people lined up Rosenblatt Stadium, and 22 of the 25 were given to me and handed to me for the first time I'd ever heard of them by Marty Woolliver, Mark Service, and the late Stan Zielinski, who was great. And not one stiff they ever sent me in 7 years. So the scouting world, once again, was a life changer for me. If it wasn't for that experience at Creighton, there would have been no Florida Marlins. Back then, you didn't think about professional baseball if you were a college guy. It was like, hey, I didn't play. I was an average NAI player, so you didn't have a mindset of, well, I'm going to get into pro ball someday and be something. It was just one of those things you didn't really think you deserved to, And anyhow, so I was surprised. I never had any dreams of professional baseball, but we had some good players at Creighton, and that's when Gary Hughes and Orrin Freeman, they were with the Expos then, would come in and see the players, cross-check the high draft guys. And little did I know that in September of '91, the Florida Marlin expansion team was announced, and Dave Dombrowski, Gary Hughes, Orrin Freeman, and all the Montreal boys moved to Florida. I had never met Dave, but for the next 2 months, I was being recruited by the Florida Marlins. And, I thought it was great, but I don't think I belong in pro ball. One thing led to another. And I found out, I finally took the job because I went down to the winter meetings, and all the guys in the room were like my background. Weren't pro players. Dave didn't play. Gary didn't play. Orrin was a great scout. He didn't play. And it hit me like, if I'm ever going to try this, these are the right kind of guys. And expansion-wise, maybe I'll learn the business the right way from the ground up. And what I didn't know till I took the job was all the years I was at Creighton, Walt Widmeyer was calling the White Sox and telling Roland Eman and Dave Dombrowski, come get this kid. He's going to be good. We need to get him in the fold. Walt never told me that. That's what a great man he was. So that's how I got into professional baseball, all because of scouts, all because of Walt Widmeyer, and because we had success at Creighton, which really had a lot more to do with the players they delivered than the guy coaching them. And then I got a huge break, obviously. Became the farm director of the Cubs in '95, and once again I went to a place. Ed Lynch hired me. Andy McPhail, great man, had the pleasure of working with him 11 years. He'd already won 2 rings with the Twins, and after a year he wanted me to be the scouting director. I thought he was crazy. I said, I only scouted like 3 years for Gary. I'm more of a field guy, whatever. And he had such a strong emphasis on scouting, he thought that I would be good at it, and he thought that was more important to get the players than to run the minor leagues. Once again, revolving around the scouting profession. And obviously I had some big jobs with the Cubs. It worked out well. I met some great people. Besides Andy, I had great evaluators with me, and I'd be remiss not to mention the people that I thank the most from the Cubs. Randy Bush, the ex-Minnesota Twin player who met on the Cape, became the assistant GM. He still helps the Cubs. Great man, great character. Oneri Fleitas here, my first All-American at Creighton. He became the farm director and director of Latin American operations for the Cubs. I had great scouts, Kenny Kravik. I got to bring Sammy Hughes into scouting for the first time. And as he knows how much I think of him, I gave him his first job because his father broke me in. He was a college football quarterback and played in the Arena League. And I said, hey, I owe his dad, I'm going to hire Sammy. 1 year later, nothing to his dad again, he was really good. So he became national cross-checker for the Cubs, worked with us, and now is second in command to Mike Holmes with the San Francisco Giants. Had the late Bill Hartford, Joe Housey, legendary area guy Jim Crawford, and then one of my best things I did was my childhood friend and past award winner here, Tim Wilkin, the great scouting director, the past of the Blue Jays, was the scouting director of the Cubs my last 6 or 7 years. So it was always a scouting background. Of anything that good happened to me, it was because of them, to be honest with you. After the Cubs, 17 years there, I was fortunate enough, it was the only time in my life that it was, it was time. It was time for them, it was time for me. We got close a few times, couldn't finish it off. And so all of a sudden, it's, time for another job. And I was fortunate enough, a lot of the guys that were GMs with me were offering me positions and all that. And I remembered all the people that had been good to me in the 90s that I looked up to, like Pat Gillick, scouting background. Brian Sabian and I knew each other since '78. Dick Tidrow was his right-hand guy, one of the great baseball guys ever that I had met. And all of a sudden it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to be all right. I don't need to be the GM. And I landed in a great place with the New York Yankees, Brian Cashman and Damon. and I've been there now. This will be my 15th year, and I'm so grateful. Cash has been a friend for a long time. Obviously, he's a confidant. He's a great boss. Also, a huge appreciation for scouting. He said, "You sure you want to do some draft stuff?" I had a good relationship with Damon. I told him I was really rusty at this. I'd give it a try again. But those two guys, from the day I got there, made me feel like I still had value and could contribute to the club. The New York Yankees didn't need Jim Hendry to be successful. But as Cash would tell you, he had such appreciation. He had 5 rings, World Championship rings. And he'll tell you, in the 90s, some of the greatest teams that ever lived, they were built by Brian Sabian and Bill Livesey and Gene Michael. And so he always got that. And to this day, he treats scouts tremendous. He doesn't tell Damon who to pick. He has a lot of respect for people. He trusts his people. And obviously, when you start talking about Damon in this room, in the amateur world, as good as it gets. Consummate professional, leader, grinder, 250 days a year still on the road. He's what the profession's all about. Young people that you want to learn how to scout and be great to your organization, and be loyal and dedicated, he's the guy. I mean, he's an exceptional human being, great friend. You know, he doesn't have to do what he does. I can't grind like I used to. He only, you know, kind of sends me to the better guys nowadays, you know, so that's always a pleasure. But also, once again, I was in a world that I had before the Cub GM days, and so many people in that room, the draft, I knew shortly on after there, and I'd never met him before. I knew Brian Barber, and I was scouting director of the Phillies. I knew he was going to be a star. Exceptional guy. I loved him right away. Terrific. He was like, how is this guy not a scouting director already? He was just made for it. And the ultimate, not in a hurry, never looking for somebody's job, the right way, great scout, great human, and I know he's even headed for bigger places. Other great guys we had there when I got there, Kendall Carter, Tim Kelly, you know, I'm going to go on and on. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here a minute. You know, so many good scouts. Mike Gibbons, older guys, and we've got a great new wave of coming. Mike Wagner, Mitch Golahan, these are going to be stars in the future. We have a great young pro scouting director, Matt Daly. And of course, last but as good as it gets, my great friend Tim Naring. Tim Naring has lived a wonderful, magical major league life. Great player, great farm director, tremendous evaluator, as good as I've ever been around, great friend, understands the profession and the people that come after him as good as anybody in the game now. He's the consummate Major League Baseball man. Tim, you're the greatest. Love you. Also, before I go any farther, I want to introduce my son, John, assistant coach at the University of South Carolina. Going to be a great coach, good evaluator, and I think he's got the disease. I think he's got the baseball disease, and that's going to be it for him. He's going to be a lifer, I think, too. A couple other things I want to say about the Yankees. Be remiss. The people that own the New York Yankees are as good as it gets. The Steinbrenner family. You know, no matter what you ever heard or this or that, or George was tough and this, you know, I could have worked for George any day, I think. But the way that we've all been treated, the excuses are taken away because they're so good to us. We have everything in the world, players, office guys, IT stuff, scouting, development. You couldn't wish for anything else. So they're special people, and Hal Steinbrenner is a wonderful man, and he lets me be Jim Hendry. You know what I mean? I'm an older dude. He gets it with me. And what I want to tell you that has nothing to do with baseball is, and I know he's not here, but I'm going to say this anyhow. In the COVID year, nobody in professional sports, nobody treated employees and us better than him. Nobody lost their job. Nobody lost their insurance. nobody took a pay cut. I would beg any scout or any employee in our profession to find somebody that did that. From that day on, I liked them a lot already, but there's a different level after that. Lost millions and millions of dollars, but treated people like they were his own family. So my hat's off to him and the whole family. So thank you to all the Steinbrenners that are here tonight too. Anyhow, so I've been the luckiest guy in the world. 48 years, and look how blessed I've been. Look at the Hall of Fame people that I've worked for or worked with. Dave Dombrowski, Andy McPhail, Brian Cashman, Brian Sabian, known each other forever, finally worked together. So blessed, and so many Hall of Fame people. I got to hire 2 Hall of Fame managers of the Cubs, Dusty Baker, Lou Piniella, 2 other guys that at the point in my career made me look awful good and made me be elevated and, whatever, because of their good faith. I would just say, we all know this profession it's hard on you physically. I mean, people that haven't done it don't get it. Scouting, when you do it long and hard, like most people in here and the great ones before us and are past, and the ones that aren't here tonight, it takes its toll. It takes its toll physically on you. It certainly takes its toll personally on you. It's a hard profession to be good in the rest of your life if you do this well. And if you haven't done it, or you're really not in it, you don't quite get it. It's really hard on people. It's hard on their lives. But we all have that disease, and probably all of us wouldn't do it any other way. I always try to tell the young guys, don't do as I do as I say, not as I did. The only regret, obviously, I wish, of course, I'd been at more of my 2 kids' activities growing up. You miss a lot of that. In my case, they turned out great. Their mother did a great job raising them, way more than I did. But they also figured their old man out at a young age, and that's what made him tick. And I think they got that. But it's a hell of a profession. I'm so grateful. Like I said, I worked for so many great people. And when I mention Hall of Famers, that's out of total respect. But besides that, the people that I've worked with for 48 years that are never going to the Hall of Fame, but they're Hall of Fame people. And they're Hall of Fame scouts, and they're Hall of Fame human beings. And I don't know anybody that could have been more fortunate than me. When I first came back to scout with the Yankees, this will be the last thing I'll say in closing, I wanted to go help Damon. Cash told me, you don't have to do that if you don't want, we'll give you something to do. I said, no, I like Damon, I love him. If he thinks I can help him, I'll give it a try. I'm gonna be real rusty at this. And so for the first couple of years, I'd go to games and you'd see somebody and, what are you doing here? Like, why are you high school games? Like, what are you doing that for? Aren't you gonna be a GM again? It was kind of irritating to me because they didn't obviously know what I really came from, and what really made me tick. And it was kind of insulting, but you don't want to take the time and start explaining to people. I said, no, I really like this and love Damon. Hope I can help him. But deep down, after all these years, and I had a lot of great jobs, but if you'd have told me 40 years ago, I would have just been Walt Whitmire someday. I'd have taken that in a heartbeat, and that would have been enough. So I'm grateful to be in the profession. I like being one of the fellas. I'm not a great scout. Okay, I wasn't the best GM, I wasn't the best scout, I certainly wasn't the best coach. But I've been doing this for 48 years, and I don't think I could have ever done anything different and ever been this happy. So thank you all for everything. God bless all you guys. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, I'm never not going to buy you lunch again. All right, that was great. Johnny DePuglia is going to come up and have a moment of silence for the scouts that have passed away this year.
We lost some good ones this year, and I'd like to honor a few of the scouts that passed in 2025. Jeffrey Biffinger, Roy Clark, Jim Marshall, Roy Elder, my ex-GM, Walt Jocketty, Scott Littlefield, Dick Roach, Robert O'Dallas, Bob Elias, and I want everyone to do a special prayer for a very good friend of mine and a very good scout, Mike Kalahia, who's going through a really tough period in his time. So put your prayers together and help him get through what he's going through. God bless everyone.
Before I introduce Roberta to come in and say the last few words, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. This has been an outstanding turnout tonight, and I'd like to thank every one of you for taking the time to come here and support these gentlemen and the Distinguished Woman of the Year. So thank you very, very much for being here. It means a lot, I'm sure. I know it means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to all these gentlemen in here. So.
Well, we need to thank a few people. This just doesn't happen all by itself. So I'd like to thank Major League Baseball and their contribution for this evening, all the baseball clubs that make an annual donation to this very event. East Coast Pro Showcase, Pro Baseball Representatives, Louisville Slugger, Scott Paulson, International Scout Rolando Fernandez, sorry. A special thanks to the advisory board, Sal, Johnny, Grady, Dan, Danny, Linda, and Gene Watson for their confidence and help and their guidance through the year. I'd like to thank my family, my husband who writes all the articles on the Scouts in this little booklet. And I'd like to thank Ron, my son Ron, Christy, my granddaughter Taylor. They're very supportive. They always kind of cringe when this time of the year comes around because I make them stuff ballots and lick stamps and lick the envelopes, and so I really appreciate their help. Also, I would like to have the Kansas City Royals, the San Diego Padres, the New York Yankees, and the Detroit Tigers come over here for their team picture. I guess that concludes this evening. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your patience and time. Thank you.